All right, welcome to this afternoon's webinar on an introduction to Link Assistive products and services. My name's Charlene Cullen and I'm one of the speech pathologists as a part of the clinical team at Link Assistive. And we'll be presenting about a range of our products, but also let you know how we can work with you and support you with the individuals that you're working with. Along the way, you'll see in the slides that there are a number of links represented as QR codes so that you can scan. If there's anything of interest to you, you can scan those and be taken directly to some links about those products or some of our resources and things. So feel free to do that. If you're interested in a copy of the slides or any other further information, there'll be some contact details at the end where you can get in touch with us. And do feel free to ask questions. We'll probably have some time at the end, which would be great. But if anything comes up, let us know in the chat box. I'll make sure that I try and check the second screen to see if anyone's asked anything along the way. So we'll get started. Link Assistive is a small business, just over 10 years old, and we've been expanding gradually from our manager who started the business off to a team of about 12 individuals now working across Australia. So we do provide support and services Australia-wide and also into New Zealand and Singapore. We're a supplier of assistive technologies and a range of products that cover things like eye gaze devices and other tablet communication devices that can be accessed in a range of different ways, such as using a mouse or alternative mice, eye gaze, touch switches, etc. We also have devices that allow individuals to access computers, environmental control options that are inbuilt into our devices or also standalone accessories, a range of mounting options, lots of different software for education and developing people's eye gaze skills. And we also have our Link sensory side of the business, which is we're a supplier of sensory and interactive technologies as well. We do have some separate webinars around Link Sensory and how what those products are and how Link Sensory can support you. And also just a bit of a shout out to check out our other webinars on our webpage. Under the support and training tab, you can find a list of all the current webinars, and we'll also be adding to that shortly with webinars for the remainder of the year. So this is our team currently. Our team consists of our managing director, who's us, and then a number of people who are in our admin team, as well as our tech support team. And then you can see the clinical team, which is down the bottom row, consisting of occupational therapists and speech pathologists. And we have the clinical team that covers all of Australia, and we all represent and support different states and territories. So who do we work with? We actually work with you as the therapists or teachers, family members, anyone who's supporting the individual that has the communication or computer access needs. So we work to support your capacity and develop your skills and support you to understand the products and how they can help the individual. And we have products that can help individuals with a range of different disabilities. So that could be someone with cerebral palsy or other physical impairments such as motor neuron disease or spinal cord injuries, individuals with disabilities such as autism or Rett syndrome, people who might have had brain injuries such as a stroke or other neurological conditions, as well as traumatic brain injury. So really a whole wide range of products that can help individuals who might have a communication impairment or a physical impairment that doesn't allow them to access the computer with the regular mouse or keyboard. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about our product range. We do have some communication products such as the Big Mac and the Step-by-Step, Quick Talkers and Go Talk. So I guess a mid-tech sort of range. They're the devices that you record a message onto, and they have a certain amount of recording time, and you would place a paper symbol or a display with symbols into that device. So we do have those in our range for people to consider. But then we do have a whole range of tablet communication devices. So currently our Tobii Dynavox devices, the Indie and the i110. And then there's a speech case for an iPad. And so the Indie and the i110 are both 10-inch screen options. They mainly differ in terms of the durability and some of the features or hardware features that are available. The speech case for the iPad can be purchased as a standalone speech case, or we do have a speech case bundle where the iPad comes with it, along with some vouchers for purchasing the appropriate apps that you might need. We have a comparison chart, and that chart currently looks at a range of features and compares each of those Tobii Dynavox devices so that you can use that information to help you work out a particular device that might be helpful to trial, or if you're writing an AT application for funding, it can help you in terms of teasing out all the little differences between those devices that you might have trialed and show which ones suit the person's needs according to the features that were identified for them. So those comparison charts are available on request if you need those. We also have a range of eye gaze devices. With both the tablet devices and the eye gaze devices, most of those can be used with other alternative access methods such as mouse or switches or switch scanning. So it really just depends on the device as to what hardware options or access methods are available with it. Definitely let us know, or you can refer to the comparison charts for information about that. We, in terms of eye gaze devices, have our PCI 5, which is the latest eye tracker. You can plug that into a computer or laptop and use that as a standalone item. Or we have all-in-one options, dedicated devices such as the iMobile 5, iMobile Plus, and the iSeries, which comes in a 13 and 16-inch size. So they're the range of our eye gaze options, and we're, as a clinical team, available to talk to you about which ones of those might be suited to individuals you're working with. We can, if you do take us up and do a trial from our loan pool system, we can talk you through and support you with that trial and help with some basic setup and training around how to use it, etc. So that's our eye gaze devices from Tobii Dynavox. And we also do have a comparison chart on those devices. Again, listing all the different features such as weight and what software is supported, the type of eye tracker, screen size, all those different things that might be helpful for an individual. And they're available through us if you contact us to grab one. In terms of communication software, we have a few different options on all of our trial devices. You'll have access to these, but if you do purchase a device, it's useful to check in with us to find out which devices come with software and which ones you might need to add it onto. So our main Tobii Dynavox software is the Communicator 5 and SnapCore First. And then we also are able to add Grid 3 onto devices, and that works with our device range. And I've just got Compass there in the corner. That's a Tobii Dynavox software that has been available up until now, but has recently been removed and replaced by Snap Core First. So we are still supporting individuals who have Compass. I think you are still able to purchase it for the iPad, or you can purchase the Pod add-on. But definitely get in touch with us if Compass is something that you have been using with someone and need support with. But our main product range is focused on Communicator 5, Snap Core First, and Grid 3 as current options. With all of these softwares, it would be take quite a while to sort of show you these and give you more in-depth information about all of them. So we do run some webinars on these, or we'll have access to the recorded webinars on YouTube, so you can find out a little bit more about them, an overview, or look at the basic settings and how to edit things. We can also run specific training if it's something that you need more information on. So let us know if that's something that you need. And we're working on a comparison chart just to sort of tease out some of those features and how they're different from each other. With Snap, our Tobii Dynavox software, there are a number of page sets that are available in Snap now. When it was first released, you could use the Core First page set, but since then there's been a text page set that's been added and a phasia page set. There's also a switch scanning page set called Core Scanner, and you can add on Pod or Gateway. So with our trial devices, you can access all of those page sets to explore, but Pod and Gateway are an add-on purchase if you do look at them for a device. Communicator 5 is one of our other software options. So that comes with text page sets as well as some symbol page sets. There are some really great page sets for emergent use, and I've often use them with individuals to help them with learning different access methods like switching or eye gaze. So it's a fully editable program. You can create page sets from scratch, where you can edit the ones that it comes with. And more recently, Tobii Dynavox added something called the accessible apps, which is really a way for individuals to be able to access programs or social media such as YouTube or Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, Audible, Kindle books, etc. So there's lots of different ways that you can access a range of those apps that we use for music and other social media options in Communicator 5. And depending on your device that you have Communicator 5 on, you can use some environmental control pages to control a TV, but you may need environmental control accessory added on if you don't have that built into the device. And the other thing is that you can do some computer control with Communicator 5. So going out of the Communicator 5 program and accessing the Windows environment and controlling using an on-screen keyboard or different mouse controls and things. And lastly, just a quick overview of the Grid 3 software, which we can add on to devices. Works well with the Tobii Dynavox devices. There are a heap of different page sets available for both symbol and text users. The symbol page sets examples are Supercore, Word Power, Symbol Talker, Beeline, and Vocabulary for Life. But you can also add on Pod. Then for text grid sets, you've got Fast Talker, Text Talker, and Alpha Core. And within those grid sets, things like word prediction and stored phrases to help the literate user really access their communication and use it in an efficient way. With Grid 3, you've also got accessible apps. So very similar to what I mentioned in Communicator 5, you can access grids that allow the person to use Spotify or YouTube or Skype and other ones that I've mentioned before. And you can use Grid 3 with environmental controls. Same deal, you might need to check that your device has an environmental control accessory built into it, or whether you need to add one on. And you can also use it for computer control. Now, with the Tobii Dynavox software, Communicator 5 and Snap, you can access them for free using a professional account. So to create a professional account, you can scan the QR code to see how to do that. And then it's a really great idea to have access to these types of software options just for your general assessment purposes and evaluating an individual and where they're at, what they might need. You can demonstrate the software. You can use it to get to know the software yourself or software that your clients are already using. If you are going to do a trial, it's really helpful to have access to the software beforehand so that you can customize and set up pages for the trial. Yeah, as I mentioned, it's just a great option for speech pathologists to have in their toolkit for assessment and evaluation purposes. We also have in our product range mounting solutions. So the Readapt mounting systems are the who we sell, and we have a range of wheelchair mounts, table stands, floor stands, switch mounts to be able to use with communication devices, tablets, phones, switches, and other control systems, maybe environmental controls. So things that can mount pretty much anything. And if you have any questions about mounting, we'll often come back to you with a mounting form. So particularly for wheelchairs, we need to gather more information to make sure that we can provide you with the right information about a mount that's suitable. Generally with wheelchairs, even if you have the exact same model, those two wheelchairs are not likely to be the same because they're prescribed for an individual and they may have different armrests, leg rests, other attachments on them, which makes it difficult to prescribe the same sort of mount each time, or you may need to look at a different way to attach to the chair compared to another person's chair that's exactly the same model. So we do need to get measurements, see where the device or accessory needs to be positioned. So photos are really helpful. And that wheelchair mounting form is something that we will send out and get information or further information from you to help. Also in our range are adapted mice. Often an individual might not be able to use a typical mouse that we all have. And so may need some adaptations like a bigger trackball or a joystick, different buttons. So there are adapted mice in our range. We also have mouse alternatives. So instead of using your hand to control a mouse, these options are the Integra mouse, you use your mouth. The Head Mouse Nano, you place a reflective dot on your glasses or on your forehead, on a cap, and move your head around, so using head control. And then the camera on top of the computer detects that reflective dot's movement around the screen. And then the QHazono 2 is a gyroscopic mouse, so it's controlled by movement in different planes. And so you can place that generally using a headband on your head, but you may place it in other areas. That larger part on the end of the headband can be clipped onto other parts of your body, and you can use that to control the mouse on the screen. So we do have those options available for sale and in our trial system as well. Switches are quite common to most of the suppliers across Australia. We have a range of switch options. Some of those are mechanical switches that you would hit with a body part to activate. There are proximity switches, such as the candy corn you can see on the right-hand side, which is activated just by being near the switch. You don't actually need to physically touch it. There are switch interfaces to use with an iPad or other tablet to connect and control things on the screen. Microlight switch for really light touch. Our Amigo switch, which uses muscle movement to activate the switch control. So these are just a few of our options, but there are quite a range of different switches that we have available. Also mentioning just some of our other software, we've talked about communication software, but we do have software for learning, things like Look to Learn and Look to Read, and Magic IFX and Inclusive Eye Gaze are all really great options for learning eye gaze skills if you're using a device to access communication and computer access options. We also have Clicker 8, which is for reading and writing, developing reading and writing skills. So quite a range of different software options available as well. And you can ask us if there are any trial versions of these so you can get to know them a little bit, but most of these would be available on our trial devices as well. I mentioned environmental control a little bit already. We have some environmental control built into our Tobii Dynavox devices, and they all have an IR or infrared transmitter built into them. So you can use them with anything that has an infrared remote. Generally, things like a TV or an air conditioner will have an infrared remote. It's a good thing to check. But we do also have some standalone accessories that you can plug into or Bluetooth connect to an iPad or other tablets, Windows tablets, to be able to control things in the person's environment. And then there's a few other extra products in the areas of cognition or call systems or voice amplification. So yeah, if there's something that might be of interest to you, definitely get in touch with us and we can give you some further information. But it's always useful to know that there's a few other things in our product range as well. I mentioned Link Sensory, but I just wanted to point out that our OT Jade is available to have a chat to people if there is anything of interest to you around sensory and interactive products for an individual, perhaps things like a bubble tube or vibrating cushions and things like that that can go into a person's room. They can be accessed in different ways. And we also do multi-sensory environments where we can set up whole rooms to be specifically tailored towards a range of different sensory and interactive products and just designed around what the needs are for the school or nursing home or, that setting where that might be needed. So you can always get in touch with Jade if you've got some more specific questions around that, or visit the website to see what else is in the range there. In terms of our services, I've mentioned the loan pool quite often. We do have a loan pool of over 120 devices, our touch tablets, our eye-gaze devices, and some of our other access options. So you can read in more detail about how that loan system works. We would refer to that as our short-term loans or equipment trial service. And that's a free service other than paying the return shipping of the device to be returned back to us. And those loans are usually 1 to 3 weeks in length. So there is a wait list, and for some devices that can be up to 3 months, but sometimes it can be a lot sooner, especially if someone might cancel their trial or postpone it for time, or yes, there's various reasons why it can come up a bit quicker. So there's the short-term loan service, and we do also do paid rentals for some of our devices, the eye-gaze devices, and they need to be start off at a minimum of 12 weeks, because often those paid rentals are likely to be a device that someone will buy out. And so that rental cost can come off the purchase price of the device. And all those terms and conditions and how that works is on the website under the information around paid rentals. So you can see the QR codes there for both those options. And you'll find that information on our website under the support and training tab. I'll just mention with rentals, that option means you can often have that rental device within about 4 weeks once that order has been placed. So it is a quicker way also to have access to a device. And we often see people with MND might look at that option. Yeah. In terms of support, definitely with things like COVID, we've always looked at supporting people remotely. We've done that prior to COVID as well, but there's a range of ways that we can help out. Sometimes we can provide on-site support if our Link Assistive clinical team reps are close to you. But the ways that we support people remotely can be through video conferencing, things like Zoom or MS Teams, or any other telehealth platform that might work for you. We also have a communication device trial guide, which is a really handy document you can have access to that talks about what you can do before, during, and after a trial. It gives you some ways to look at goal setting for a trial, information around the communication device, so a summary, so that you have a way to document what's been happening and look at all the roles and responsibilities of the team that's doing the trial. So just lots of handy reminders and information about how you can access our support as well. There's access to our clinical team or technical team, particularly when you're having a trial, but if you have purchased a device from us as well. And then we can actually remote into devices via logging in using TeamViewer. So that means that if you have a device from us or you're trialing a device from us, if anything comes up, there's any troubleshooting that needs to happen, we can, if the device is connected to the network, log into that device and take over controls and either help fix something or show you how you can use the device and do a little bit of training as well. And lastly, there are a range of resources that we've developed. We've got a wiki, which is a how-to for any troubleshooting or technical support around devices. There's a section for resources that you can access, ones that we've developed, but also cheat sheets and information assessment sheets from Toby Dynavox. And so the QR code in the bottom corner takes you to our resource page where you can access some of those things. So I've already mentioned a range of ways that we can support you. There's a few others here. We can do product demonstrations that could be on site or it could be through a Zoom meeting or the telehealth, just to show you about some specific products that we have. We can do training workshops. Some of those might be free if they're product related, or they might be paid if they're more of a customized option. You can always contact the clinical team if you've got individuals you're working with and you want to ask for some advice and information, maybe about what might be an appropriate device trial. We can help you with trials in terms of basic device setup and any technical and programming support. There is support from our clinical team in terms of device selection, helping you with some feature matching, looking at how you assess and evaluate that trial. I've mentioned our short-term loans as well as our device rentals, and then we can also help you with quotes for products. And so that's, in conclusion, I guess, the end of our webinar. But if you do need any further information, want to contact us, our phone and email details are there. But we'd love to be able to help you with any queries around individuals you're working with, or if you've already got products from us that you're needing to know more about, or maybe individuals you're hoping to trial or rent devices with. So thank you for attending, and yeah, just let us know if you've got any questions via the chat box, or I can open up the microphones to allow you guys to chat back. Thank you.